9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tuned.
If you have a request or shout out, hit us up live in the studio. And now your host.
A very good day and a warm welcome to all of our great and awesome listeners tuning in from all over the world. Welcome to the 8th episode of Let's Talk Showbiz, brought to you by Brand Live.
Zani Banani. And welcome everyone to another jam-packed episode on Let's Talk Showbiz. We have a special studio interview guest feature lined up for today's episode featuring an amazing man who is not only a dancer but also a choreographer and artistic director.
This week's guest artist is none other than Victor Trevino. But before we jump into the interview feature with Mr. Trevino and talk about his amazing work in the new show Men in Tutus, how is everyone doing? Is there any special or massive events happening this week? What is happening?
I think I'm more in a preparation week for specific events coming up. So stay tuned.
Ooh, keep the space. And no, nothing special on my side. Just work, same old routines.
Oh, so Fatum was open this week.
Fata returned back to Academy this week. So last week and the week before was craziness with Talent Africa and the reality show. Everything's going back to normal.
Great.
Anyways, be sure to let us know what's happening in your week. What is your highlight? Post it on Twitter and tag us at Let's Showbiz and use the hashtag LTS, #MyWeekHighlight.
Oh, wait, I have a highlight.
Ooh, what?
It's Angela's birthday. Shout out to Angela De Sosa. Happy birthday, girl.
Happy Angela birthday. Happy birthday, Angela.
Wow. And yes, while you holler at us with your highlights, let's take a look at what's brewing in the world of entertainment, locally and internationally.
Now, April brings a double dose of local romance and plenty of laughs as two new proudly South African releases come to Stir Kiniko cinemas. Love Lies Here sees Tando Tabethe looking for the right kind of love, while the Kandasamis and the Naidus return on the big screen for another dose of hostility and hilarity in Kandasami, The Wedding. Have you seen the first one?
No. And whilst the local scene is buzzing, everyone is extremely excited about the upcoming Avengers film, Endgame, set to be released on the 26th of April, arguably the biggest movie of 2019 yet to be released, as it topped Fandango's list of most anticipated movies of 2019, beating Captain Marvel and Star Wars. What?
Yeah, the movie is so big that we may as well declare April the Avengers Endgame month. And not kidding with you, but it is going to be a very big movie because do you know what the cinemas did? Because it's 3 hours long, the movie.
Oh, so what?
Apparently the Endgame movie is 3 hours long, so the cinemas are charging double tickets.
That makes sense, though.
It does, but okay. Elsewhere on the international scene for April, as winter is slowly approaching us here in South Africa, many other people in the globe are preparing for another sort of winter. That is right, the final season of Game of Thrones airs this Sunday globally. Now, Game of Thrones has been breaking records and creating historical moments in TV with their enormous cast, their big budgets, and the filming. But the icy world premiere of Season 8, Game of Thrones, are going big.
Wow. Express has confirmed that the eyes of more than 1 billion viewers in 170 countries will be glued to their screens on TV on the 14th of April to witness history unfold. Normally an audience of that magnitude, almost one in every season, people on the planet gathers only for spectacular one-off events like the Royal Wedding or the World Cup final. But all eyes will be open to the first opening episode of the 8th and final season of Game of Thrones. Stay tuned.
Yep, HGO's Dungeons and Dragons fantasy drama has become a global fantasy. Meanwhile, in the theatre industry, as people line up for Game of Thrones, the beloved Into the Woods makes way for its final show on the 14th of April 2019, whilst Men in Tutus starts fresh at the Teatro in Monte Cassino from this Friday for 4 shows only, finishing off on Sunday the 14th of April 2019. The all-male comedy ballet company Les Ballet Eloelle has brought its Men in Tutus all the way from New York City to South Africa.
The troupe is set to perform at the Teatro Monte Cassino in Johannesburg from the 12th to the 14th of April 2019 before heading to Cape Town to showcase its parody at the Artscape Opera House from the 18th to 1st of April 2019.
So led by the founder, artistic director, and lead dancer Victor Trevino, Les Ballet Eloelle showcases men dancing roles traditionally reserved for women. Despite its comedic nature, Men in Tutus never undermines the challenges of performing the complex choreography.
And speaking of theatre, the South African production of ever-popular award-winning Broadway and West End musical hit Chicago is back with a literal bang, pew pew, and currently razzle-dazzling at the Artscape in Cape Town till the 14th of April before shimming over to the Monte Casino Theatre at Johannesburg. Oh, I can't wait. It will be a criminal to miss it.
There's a lot of things happening on the 14th of April.
Right.
Like it's this premiere and that premiere and this show is finishing while this one is starting. It's cool. And where theatre meets music, from the producers that brought you the world-renowned tribute show such as The Greatest Love of All, starring Port Elizabeth-born Belinda Davids, the Michael Jackson History Show with Kimberly-born superstar Dantanio Goodman, as well as the Bethlehemian Tour. A brand new tribute experience is set to make the international touring debut in South Africa this April.
Yes, Piano Man, the Billy Joel Show, is the latest tribute show set to dazzle South Africans this Easter, launching from the hands of renowned Universal production company Showtime Australia, who have proven over the years to be one of the leading producers in global tribute shows and the show genre.
Now set to premiere in Durban at the Sabaya Casino from the 18th till the 28th of April, Australian-born musician and piano man himself, Stephen Michael, brings to life the highlights of Joel's career live on piano, guitar, and vocals, bolstered by the tight band, iconic saxophone solos, and the rich backing vocals to make up a true and authentic Streets of New York Billy Joel sound.
Yes. And finally, in the music biz, a lot is happening this month in South Africa. After just witnessing Ed Sheeran in his Divide tour, everyone is preparing for Sam Smith, hitting the big concerts at the Coca-Cola Dome the 13th and 14th of April. And then the 16th and 17th at the Grand Arena in Cape Town. Cape Townians?
There's really a lot happening this weekend. That being said, South African artists can also be very exciting for the 2019 Guma Music Awards that is just around the corner as it launches on the 17th of April at the Sun Square Arena in Pretoria.
Ooh, okay, so keep tabs on that. And lastly, for today's episode of What's Hot, following the massive success of Oscar-winning biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen will embark on a tour of Australia and New Zealand in early 2020. The rock group will be joined by singer Adam Lambert as their frontman, and once more an exciting collaboration. I love Adam
And
Lambert.
just to clarify, this is the actual Queen band, guys. Without obviously Freddie Mercury. But this isn't a tribute show, it's the actual Queen band that are
And
coming
obviously
together.
Adam Lambert is honoring his role.
Yeah, which is
Live.
super excited. And we've got a little poster that we will post on social media for
great.
everyone. Now, that is all we have time for today, but make sure that you follow us on social media, where we will constantly post you with updates and events and news, just to keep you in the loop of what's hot in the industry, locally and internationally, of course.
Yes, just do it.
Podcasting, the practice of using the internet to make digital recordings of broadcasts available for downloading to a computer or mobile device. Or, as they say in South Africa, a fantastic way to tell a good story or to bring your brand to life. To find out more on how podcasting can change your brand, speak to us at brandlive.co.za. brandlive.co.za. We bring your brand to life. You're listening to a brandlive.co.za podcast.
Welcome back to Late Stroke Showbiz. Today we have a very special guest in studio with us, Victor Trevino. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you that don't know Victor, let me give you a little rundown of who this incredible man is. Victor Hugo Trevino started dancing at the age of 19 in college. However, the first brush with classical dance left him with the feeling that classical dance was not for him. A year later, his parents were in a car accident and went home to help, and he went home to help with the family. But can I just start again? Sorry, my tongue just. Sure. Welcome back to Let's Talk Showbiz. You're tuned in here, and we have a very special guest in studio with us today, Victor Trevino. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you that don't know Victor, let me give you a little rundown of who this incredible man is. Now, Victor Hugo Trevino started dancing at the age of 19 in college. However, the first brush with classical dance left him with the feeling that classical dance was not for him. A year later, his parents were in a car accident and he went home to help with the family business. While there, he was invited to take jazz classes at the professional dance school. He half-heartedly agreed to go with a friend to exercise, not knowing this chance invitation would change his life. That sounds interesting. Yes. I want to delve into that a bit more now. The academy was associated with the Ballet Florida, and he eventually became a full member with the company. Because of his size, the roles he was able to play were limited, and Ballet Florida was not a touring company at the time. He became aware of the male comedy ballet and auditioned for Le Ballet Trocadero, the Monte Carlo, and was offered a contract. Over the next decade, he performed almost every lead in the repertoire and began choreographing for the company. He was offered an opportunity to create his own company in 1996 and became the highly successful how do you pronounce it?
Grand Diva.
Grand Diva.
Mm-hmm.
Ballet Grand Diva. The company was featured on the cover of Dance magazine and garnered wonderful reviews in the New York Times and many other publications globally. In 2011, he updated his name to Ballet
LOL.
LOL. Okay. So you see, the spelling is what like I want to say Eloelle because the E confuses us. So,
well, the way it's spelled is confusing, but if you break it down, it actually
makes sense.
And think about it, it's him, or him or her.
LOL. Okay.
And it's also, what people text each other. LOL.
Of course. I didn't
Laugh
even
out
think
loud.
of that. And Victor has also choreographed many children's ballets for a civic company, New England Ballet of Connecticut, and has also choreographed and taught and coached at Palm Beach Atlantic University in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yes.
Wow, what a background. Awesome. So take us back. What inspired your love for dancing, especially ballet?
Well, it's funny. When I started doing it, it's that challenge of being able to kind of master your body. And I saw such, people moving so beautifully. It was an art form I just fell in love with. It was a way of expressing yourself. I don't know, it spoke to me. And then when I saw the productions come together, it was just something, it was something for me.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I always thought, oh, ballet, that sounds really kind of strange and, old and, kind of some, very rarefied and
of course
only for specific people. But when I started doing it, I realized it's a very physical form of expression.
Yeah, and it's also not as easy as it looks.
Oh, no, it's very hard. It takes hours and hours of dedication.
And strength, I believe.
You build that strength over time. You take class pretty much daily, an hour and a half is a regular class, and usually you take 2, and then you'll rehearse on top of that. So it ends up being a good 6 hours of physical activity every day.
So you only started dancing at the age of 19. No prior dancing before then?
Just a little bit of dancing in nightclubs.
Of course. So prior to then, might me asking, what did you think did you want to do? So when you were like younger in high school, before ballet and dance became a part of your life, what was in your mind? What was the initial plan?
My initial plan was, I come from a business family, and I had a scholarship to go to the University of Florida, and I was going to be a business major. And although I understood all the information, it was dreadfully hard to stay awake during those classes. So I was really having a hard time kind of focusing. It didn't really speak to me.
Yeah, it wasn't where your heart was.
It was not only my heart, my body wasn't in those classes quite often too. So I was often missing in my early years from my classrooms. So in a way, it became a good thing for me to come home and to try and figure out what to do with my life. But I had thought I would be like an accountant.
But I think
something like that, a a computer analyst or something like that.
But I think the dance industry is very lucky to have someone like you. And I can relate to what you're saying because it's one of those things. I also used to work in the corporate industry. You know, as we know, performing arts industry isn't the easiest.
Yes.
It's quite a tough industry. So I used to work in the corporate industry and I used to hate waking up going to my work. Like every single morning when I woke up and I had to go to my job, I didn't like it. It was dreaded. I just hated every single moment of it until you start doing what you love, and then it doesn't feel like a job anymore. And I'm pretty sure you can relate to that.
I can. It's funny. I've gone back to teach at the college. I need to have a degree. So I've gone back to get my degree, because I'm not missing that many courses. But each course, it's so difficult to stay awake and to really read the information because it's just so hard to concentrate. And yet, when I do dance, I can concentrate. And the day just flies by. So, you know, when you're doing something that you're passionate about and that you love, whatever that happens to be, you know, some people are born to be in business, and they love that, and you know, they wake up every day to do that. But dance is that for me. I can think about it, talk about it, be part of it, day in, day out, from when I wake up till I go to bed.
That's absolutely amazing. Now, let us go back. What made you take a leap to dance the so-called female role? So I read a bit on your background, and I got your biography. I read up on a little bit about Men in Tutus. Absolutely love it. Can't wait to see it. So the question I want to ask is, what made you take the leap to dance the so-called female roles? Why didn't you create roles for smaller framed men?
Well, you know, okay. The thing about ballet is that, you know, when you partner somebody, they get in these special shoes and they dance on point on their toes. That makes them taller. So if you dance with a partner at my height, she would have to be very vertically challenged to work with me. Just very tiny, because I'm about 5'2", which is small. So to create, I mean, I could create some roles probably, but there's already all this wonderful repertoire for ballerinas. And they suggested, why don't you do tap? Why don't you do a jazz? You know, something like that. There's places for men my size in dance, but my love was specifically for classical dance. And I thought, well, where will my size be an asset? And I had heard there was a company where the men did the female roles, and I thought, a lot of my physical gifts and my abilities were expressive and were being very flexible. So, you know, I thought, you know, maybe doing female roles would be something I would do well.
I think it's amazing because you're pushing boundaries, and instead of just sticking to the norm, what people genuinely like, for the fact that people said, why don't you do some jazz and why are you doing this? And you were like, no, I want to do ballet. And they were like, but you know, partnering up with a female is going to be vertically challenged. And you were like, well, I don't know, I'll make it work. And I think I love that because there wasn't an opportunity for you, so you created one.
Yes, and then the other thing is there was only one company in the world at the time, and I did all the rep after 10 years, and they were not growing their rep. And so I felt like, okay, I've done this as an artist. What do I do next? There's no more opportunities. So again, somebody gave me the opportunity to create a new company where we were able to expand the dances that are explored in comedy and in classical dance. So again, I was able to kind of create my own path.
Which I think is great, because I think as artists, we constantly want to grow. We don't want to feel like we're stagnated and we're stuck in one position. So we want to grow. And I think that's amazing. And I think I might speak under correction now. I don't have all my facts straight, so please do apologize. But I know that very, very back in the days, and I'm talking about many, many years ago, ballet was deemed more a female dance, a female
Yes.
dance genre. And I think it's great that people came along and showed that, listen, you know, it isn't just female prominent, it's both. And I love the fact that you are doing it somewhere in the middle, that you could,
yes.
yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it that you're doing it somewhere in the middle, because you're just opening up a doorway. Because I do firmly believe that there are many other people out there in the world that might have felt exactly like you felt, that have a love for the arts, have a love for something, but they're either told you're not too tall, you're too short, you can't do it, or you're a male or you're female. And I think you guys doing the show is showing to people you don't have to be restricted with what the people are saying. Create your own opportunity if there's no opportunity.
Well, you know, you've hit on several points that I'd like to kind of talk about.
Please
kind of
please do.
But, you know, our company, I really push each artist to develop individually. And so that's something that is not given to most dancers. Usually you go into a dance company and you are told how to interpret a role, how to dance it, where to be. You know, so that's something that's unique to us. I develop each artist individually. The other thing I get to do is I get to bring men in on the stage, and instead of seeing all these perfect, almost similar exact body types on stage, you get to see all these different types of people, different types of personalities. And so you come to the ballet, and it becomes such kind of a smorgasbord of bodies and personalities, as opposed to one thing. And I just think it's so much more interesting for the audience.
Yeah, no,
because you
definitely.
follow the different characters, the different people throughout the evening, and it creates this opportunity for people maybe who are very tall, too tall usually for ballet, too short, a little too heavy, a little too thin, maybe too feminine as a man, somebody who's just can't take life seriously to play that prince. So, you know, it gives a whole lot of other people a chance to be on the stage and to be part of this kind of a show.
I absolutely love it, because at Let's Talk Showbiz, that, you know, we constantly trying to promote exactly that. Platforms and people in the industry that are creating opportunities for people, that are pushing the boundaries and opening up doorways. That is what we're all about. So when I saw when the Tutus were here, and Colette sent me the information, I was just like, I have to speak to Victor. I need to speak to him. We have to get him on the show. I can't wait to see the show. It's absolutely amazing. I think really what you guys are doing is amazing.
And I have dancers I internationally. So that's the other thing we do. I try to bring different cultures from around the world together. Right now we have, I think it's 7 cultures represented. We have a dancer from Mexico, Colombia, Argentina.
Oh, all in like men and tutus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
The United States, Spain, the Isle of Wight in the UK, Japan, the Philippines.
That is astonishing.
We have people from all over the world coming together to do this show. And, you know, so, Australia. So I love that idea of bringing people from around the world together to create a show where we are all be able to laugh and have a good time together. It really shows that different types of people can get along and can have a good time.
Oh, that's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about MIT, Men in Tutus. It says here on the review, technical brilliance, tongue-in-cheek humor, and a passion for the classic and contemporary ballet. Men in Tutus will soon be seen on the stage at the Teatro Monte Cassino for 4 shows only, from Friday the 12th, which is today, until Sunday the 14th of April 2019. It also says male ballerina is usually a term used in error, made by a rookie arts writer. However, Les Ballet Eloelle says it out loud and you'll get the joke. Led by founder and artistic director and lead dancer Victor Trevino, features as one of the few all-male comedy ballet companies in the world. The comedy aspect of Men in Tutus' clever, affectionate parody of a ballet canon, both classically and contemporary, via the dances, hilarious female personas, never undermine either the challenge of performing the complex choreography or the exceptional results which makes the show so thrilling to watch. So we're hearing that it's a comedy ballet, but it's also quite serious in the terms of choreography and the skill sets of the dancers.
Yes.
Give us a little bit more insight about that.
Okay, so it's surprising to me. I mean, because I'm in dance, but a lot of people don't realize men do not dance on their toes in traditional dance.
Yeah.
Only the ballerina. That's the world that's saved just for the ballerina, because those shoes help create the illusion of being lighter than air and defying gravity, which is a female quality that you would see on stage.
Yeah.
So and the man is usually the person picking her up and doing all the lifting. So women work in these shoes. They start working in them when they are about 11 or 12 years old. So, and it takes years to master that skill, that ability to work on the tips of their toes. There are maybe 40 or 50 men in the world who are dancing professionally, working with this skill, and we employ almost half of them. So this tells you, it's a very unusual company. So it takes us, the dancers train for 15, 20 years or longer just to be professional male dancers. And then on top of that, they must train an extra year, 2 years in the shoes to start building that extra skill. Because it's not a skill that we normally would have.
Yeah, of course.
So
but the dedication behind it is amazing. I mean,
yeah. And then for the men who do the male roles, because obviously, ballet has stories where you have a man and a woman, and we have people playing both roles. To learn how to lift another man and partner them is different, because the body structures are different. The weights distribution within the bodies is different. So there's a big adjustment for that.
That's amazing. And what was the inspiration behind Men in Tutus? What drew you in for the concept behind Men in Tutus, especially because, like you just said, the seriousness of the skill set of the dance combined with the comedy?
What drew me in, like I said originally, was the fact that I wanted to work in classical ballet, and there just weren't that many opportunities. But what held me was, the reaction of the audience and having that connection to an audience. It's so special. It's very different than in traditional dance. Traditional dance, people might applaud a little bit, but they're generally quiet and respectful.
Yeah.
But in comedy ballet, it's like any comedic thing. You develop a timing with the audience, and it's almost this conversation that you're having throughout the performance.
I think
with
it's more
them.
rewarding for you guys as well performing.
Yeah, you're interacting with the audience throughout the show. They're laughing. You're telling, physically telling jokes, and they're reacting to that, and it's hooked me.
Oh,
I was never, once I started doing this, I was like, why go back and do the other?
yeah, of course.
In fact, I've done like little guest spots in a traditional company, and I think they're not reacting. And I realize, of course they're not reacting. This is the way they normally do. This is the way the normal dance. But I've just gotten used to that conversation.
Of course.
And it's really fantastic.
I like the pushing the norm. I like pushing the boundaries and pushing the norm. But we will be taking a small break. When we return, we're continuing our interview with the legendary Victor Trevino. We'll be delving into more of the choreography, the preparations, and we'll be speaking more about the upcoming show Men in Tutus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastdownmedia.co.za.
You're listening to a brandlive.co.za podcast.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Showbiz. I'm speaking to Victor Trevino, the choreographer, artistic director, and featured dancer in Men in Tutus, which goes live at Monte Casino tonight. It will be showing for 4 shows only until Sunday, and I believe then you guys are going to Cape Town.
Yes, we are.
So is this the first time that you're here in South Africa? Is this the first tour for South Africa?
Yes, it is. Yes, we're very excited.
Is this the first time you're in South Africa?
It's my first time.
And how's the experience been?
It is amazing. And we flew to Cape Town and did some promotion there before coming back here. And both cities, incredible.
Yeah, Cape Town is stunning. Cape Town is absolutely amazing. Called the mother city, of course, of South Africa because of the ocean views and the mountains. And then, of course, Johannesburg has its beauty in its own. So obviously, when did you guys come from? You said you came from New York, Florida.
I came from New York.
New York.
Yeah, I live in Florida. I flew to New York and then I flew here.
And when did you fly?
I got here Thursday night of last week.
Okay. So have you just been preparing and rehearsing and also doing some sightseeing? And
we've been doing a little sightseeing and of course making sure doing all the final touches with the show, making sure it's ready for this evening.
Of course. So let's quickly talk about, before I delve into more of the show, I'm just curious. So obviously, Men in Tutus, they're here in South Africa. You've also been doing shows at other countries.
Yes.
How long have you been touring Men in Tutus?
Grandiva was my first company that I created. So that company started in 1996. And then in 2011, we changed to Ballet Eloelle. Men in Tutus is kind of, I think people think it's a show. It's just kind of more of a description of the show.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of like, when you see a brand and then underneath it says something that tells you exactly what it is. That's what Men in Tutus is. It's a help. So the audience knows immediately what Ballet Eloelle is. But we've been doing it, everywhere for a long time.
So how is the traveling and adjusting to the different country climates and all of that? How do you guys stay in shape and stay healthy and stay intact? With the constant traveling, because traveling is exhausting. So you're traveling from country to country. It's good that you're probably here a week before, so it gives you enough time to rest up. But
Exactly.
what would you say is your routine? Not just for you, but for all the dancers. What is the routine that you guys follow in order to stay on the game and be ready for the shows, especially because you're traveling constantly?
Well, like yesterday, we woke up, we took class from 10 to 11:30, and then we had a short break to have lunch. And then we rehearsed till 6.
Oh, wow.
So that, it's a very physical form, and it requires all the people around you to make sure they're in their formations, make sure your body is ready, make sure you can do all the jumping and the turning and all that stuff. And, somebody said that with dancing, if you don't dance for one day, you notice it. And if you don't dance for 3 days, the audience notices.
Oh, wow, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, so you have to constantly be doing it.
Continue. You have to probably. I think it's like you have to constantly practice your art.
Yes, constantly. It's your instrument, and you have to keep your instrument, fine-tuned.
Now, let's talk more about the play, Men in Tutus. Tell us more about this piece, because the show sounds like it's a compilation of multiple stories.
We're doing 5 different ballets. The first one that we're starting with is called Les Grands Pas de Quatre, and it was a piece originally created for 4 ballerinas for a gala many years ago.
Ah, okay.
And when the man who brought the 4 famous women of the time together to dance together, he had no idea that they did not like each other.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did not believe the other 3 were quite up to the same standards as they were. So he had a lot of problems with them, and so the comedy, obviously, you can see where that's going to come from that piece. The second piece we do is called Les Corsaires Pas de Deux, and it's pulled out from a full-length ballet, and it's the showpiece at the end where the man and the woman dance together, and they show you all their technical brilliance, you know? So
fantastic.
that and then after that, we do a parody called Go for Barocco. A man named George Balanchine came along in the 20th century and changed what ballet really was. And he stripped down the costumes and showed you the architecture of the bodies. And it became a very different thing, very physical, very fast moving. So we're doing a take on that, which I think people will really enjoy. And then we finish with a very famous solo, probably the most famous solo in ballet, created by Anna Pavlova, The Dying Swan.
Of course, I'm familiar with that one. I don't know much about ballet. I've got a little bit of dance history myself, studying musical theater, but that one I know.
Yes.
The other ones just sounded like words that I would probably not be able to pronounce.
But when you know, don't be intimidated. All of those things, you know, it's the first piece is 4 ladies competing with each other. The second piece is 2 people, a boy and a girl dancing together, and
But I love the names. It sounds so exotic and nice, and like even if I won't be able to pronounce it, it sounds nice. And even I think for any person, you don't need to understand it in order to appreciate it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you will understand it. You know, we make it so that you can understand it.
Great.
You may not understand the history or the names, but when you see it, it's very easy to understand. So don't be intimidated. And then we finish the evening with the second act of Swan Lake, which everybody has heard of.
Of course.
And the story is, if you don't know the story, it's a woman has been cursed, and she is a swan all day, and at night for a few hours, she turns back into this princess turns back into a maiden. And during that time, she's got to meet a handsome prince, convince him to love her and marry her and to be faithful. So it's a pretty hard curse to kind of break.
Yeah, especially only if you have a few hours.
If you have only a few hours, and to finding the handsome prince is hard, and then making sure he's faithful, I don't know. It's pretty hard.
That's back in the old days. Yeah. Not so much in modern days.
No, modern days, I don't know. Maybe with
she'll have a harder time in modern days.
Now, well, maybe finding him would be a little easier with you know, you could go on it, you know, your Instagram or something,
of course,
and do some pictures.
Now, how long was the preparation for Tutu specifically? The whole preparation and rehearsal process prior to starting to tour it?
Well, it's a show it's developed over a lot of time. So it depends on what you're...
When was the initial, this specific show that you're putting out the Monty, the specific pieces? When was this?
All these pieces that we've done before, and these are our most popular pieces. So it takes us basically a week to get it back together. Of really rehearsing, but everybody has performed these roles before. But in getting the costumes together, getting the initial ideas together, all of that when it originally was put together has taken years to develop it.
So do you take of course I understand that Tutu is like it's a compilation, and so do you guys do the same type of show with the different pieces when you tour, or do you change it when you go to different...
We always do a compilation, and what those elements that are within the compilation change, and each, you know, as we bring in new pieces and switch out pieces, we actually have about 50 different pieces that we can switch in and out.
And when you guys when you tour and you go to new countries, you switch it out to keep it, obviously for you guys, also interesting to do new things.
Yes.
Okay.
And we may have a special surprise tonight for our audience. We may be adding a duet.
Awesome.
So please come out, and I won't tell you anything about it. It's just be a
You'll
surprise.
have to be there in order to see. So if you don't have plans for a Friday night, make sure that you go through to Monte Casino to see this awesome show. And he won't tell you what the surprise is. You need to come and see it.
It's a little bit more of an unusual, less well-known duet. I'll tell you that much. But you'll really love it. It's not listed, but it's a little gift for our audience.
So for our international listeners out there, what happens after South Africa? Are you guys going to another countries?
We will be going to Japan after this tour, and then we are in negotiations to return to China, Singapore, and we just came from Australia. So
Sorry,
yeah.
Australia, if you guys missed it. Sorry about that. Then you guys will have to catch it in Japan or China.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And you know, the wonderful thing about this show, there is no spoken words. So it transcends cultures.
Oh,
So it's really easy to go from one country to another
yeah,
country.
of course.
And, you know, people everywhere. There's such a commonality that connects people globally. And I think we often, you know, focus on our differences. But comedy, especially this kind of a show, really highlights how much alike we really are and how much we all want to laugh.
So, I've got so much to ask and so little time. So let's quickly speak about you. You danced for 10 years as the lead dancer in Le Ballet Trocadero,
Yes.
the Monte Carlo, and then you founded Le Ballet Grandiva, correct?
Yes.
So how old were you when you became the principal dancer for Trocadero?
I was probably about 27.
Now, what would you say since then has been the highlight for your career?
Well, I've had a lot of highlights. So, you know,
It's difficult to choose.
well, I can give you a couple because it's hard to, you know, but I got to, when I was dancing with the Trucks, which is their nickname.
I like the trucks.
And we were in Buenos Aires. One of the top male dancer in the world was named Julio Boca at the time. He danced for American Ballet Theater, and he guested all over the planet for every major company as a lead.
amazing.
He was think of Baryshnikov. He was the next Baryshnikov. And he came to the show, and during the intermission, he came backstage and said, I would like to perform with you on Friday.
Wow, I've got like goosebumps. Like, that's amazing.
So we danced the Black Swan pas de deux together, he and I.
Oh, that's
And it
brilliant.
was an amazing, so that's a huge highlight for me,
course.
for my dancing career. But, you know, there's highlight, when I choreographed and had Grandiva, there's a very famous choreographer named Roland Petit who created a ballet called Carmen. And I created a parody of his work. And I thought, well, you know, I don't think he'll ever come see it. Maybe I haven't changed it enough. He might be very mad and eventually write me a letter and tell me to stop doing it. But, you know, I danced. I loved that ballet, and I choreographed it for myself, actually. And so on opening night, in Japan, in Tokyo of all places, I am getting ready to, the curtain is about ready to go up, and my ballet master comes back and tells me, you're never going to guess who's in the audience tonight for our opening show here. I said, who? Roland Petit is in the audience tonight.
What?
And I was like, oh my gosh,
And
what's
just
he
before
going to think?
before you're about to go on stage.
Just before we're about to go on stage. And then after the show, they said, Mr. Petit would like to speak with you. And I was like, oh gosh, what's he gonna say? And he walked up and he goes, that Carmen, your choreography. Well, no, he didn't say your choreography. He said the choreography is really nice. And I was like, oh, Mr. Petit, I hope you're not upset with me. And he said, no, of course not. He said, if you're ever near me, I would actually love to rehearse you. I loved it. I loved what you did with it.
Oh, that's
and
such a
I
big
would love to see.
compliment.
Yes. So there's some
Damn.
highlights for you.
That is amazing, and I'm sure that there's so much. Unfortunately, we don't have the time. I would have loved to just deep and delve into everything. Now, we're almost at the end of our interview section. I just wanted to know, knowing the performance industry, how long the hours are, the intensive training that it demands from a performer. How do you keep a balance between work, social life, and family?
Well, I don't know if I have a balance between those three. I tend to feel like, being in dance, that is my social life. The dancers are my family. When we are together, it's when I'm happy. When we are working together, I feel alive. When we are creating together, that is what life is about for me. So the other things, having, time afterwards to eat, all of those things come out of my dance. So, and if you really plan your life well, I think, you have a life like that where your work and your life all are integrated that way. They're not separate things.
Now, with all of the achievements that you've accomplished and all of the great work you've done, the places you've seen, the work that you've done, the astonishing shows that you've put on stage, the choreography that you've done, shows you've been in, it is so easy to get lost in the world of fame. How do you keep yourself grounded and stay so humble as you are?
Well, ballet is a very small, rarefied world. And we did experience fame in Japan, that the kind of fame that because we spent a lot of time doing a lot of television there, where people saw our faces and saw who we were, and it was very interesting and very different. It was a little bizarre to walk into a 7-Eleven in a small city to buy, a drink and have the cashier recognize you. Yeah. So, I got that idea of what, like movie stars get. But for the most part, people don't really know ballet dancers. So,
So it's
our
actually
lives
a very humbling industry, genre type of artistic platform.
There's only a couple of people that are great stars and only a few people who are crossover stars where the whole world knows them, people like Baryshnikov. But for us, the big main dancers who we love and admire, I think most people don't know them. And so in a way, it's nice because you have a chance to be famous within your genre and within your people and respected, but you have a normal life.
I think it helps you stay grounded.
Yes,
as well.
very grounded.
I think so.
Yeah.
So to conclude, before we wrap everything up, 2 more questions. Is there anyone special at home?
No.
Not. And any family?
Besides my family.
Besides your family.
My sisters and brothers,
So I think they must be very proud and very supportive of what you do.
They're supportive. They're into music. I think my family is generally very, they're very critical of each other. So I'm really glad I went to dance because they don't know it well enough to criticize me.
So they're more into the music side.
Yes. So and they all criticize each other, which is great. And I'm kind of like, what do you do? Don't worry about what I do. I'm doing it okay.
But I think it's great. I think it's amazing that you have family and people around you.
Yes.
And not just family, but also friends and the people that you work with, that support each other. I think it's important in this industry for us to support each other, to help build and grow each other.
Yes.
And I think if you surround yourself with the right people, going forward, it's just not necessarily a walk in the park, but it makes it easier.
It does make it easier to have a support system. If you're an artist, you really need to have
people
a support
that
system.
understand it.
People that understand you, people that can inspire you and push you when you're not feeling
and
like
accept
we're
the
going
flaws and the goods and the bads.
and the goods and the bads, and accept your crazy schedules and all the things that you all of that. You need to be around people like that, and they'll inspire you. They'll support you. You need that.
Last question. Any tips for aspiring dancers, especially ballet and more so other young men that would like to follow in your footsteps?
Well, for young ballet dancers, it takes a lot of discipline and hard work. Don't expect success overnight. Keep your own voice going. Work hard. All of those things are very important. Know that you're working towards something that's very special and that you're going to get something out of this beyond just what you get in dance. People who dance generally are better, learn better, they're better disciplined. So it's a wonderful thing to dance. So that's one thing. And for people that want to follow in my footsteps, you can start off by following my Facebook page and my Instagram and contacting me, and I'll see. Who knows? Maybe you'll
and
find a job.
your
with me.
handles?
And
Your handles?
Ballet LOL, ELOELLE, is on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook.
Perfect. So we'll also be posting that on our Facebook page for all of our listeners, so you can go on there. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. Keep up to speed with Victor and Men and Tutus. We will post everything on our social media. The show is tonight at Monte Casino from the 12th and the 14th of April. 4 shows only. Before we say goodbye, it is officially time for our last segment of the show, Oh Snap. That's right, it's time again for the crazy round of Oh Snap, where the guest has to say the first word that comes to mind when given a specific word. Guest needs to answer as quickly as possible and get as many words as they can in 60 seconds. Oh. Now remember, you cannot say pass, you have to answer. If you answer wrong, so meaning if you say something that's irrelevant, the word to the word, or you take more than 3 seconds, then you will be interrupted with Oh Snap. So it's something like this. If I say blue, you say sky. If I say drink, water. If I say toothbrush, aqua. So you just respond to the word. If I say food, you say pizza.
Okay.
Anything that comes to mind that's relevant to the word I'm giving you.
I just wish I'd slept more last night now.
Okay, so we're going to do the timer, 60 seconds, and let's see what you do. So we play this little game with all of our guests in the end. Like we pull a little Ellen on ourselves.
Okay.
And at the end of the season, we announce the winner, and we send them a Let's Talk Showbiz hamper.
Oh, fantastic.
So let us see. Okay, you ready? Let's get the timer ready. Music.
Song.
Instrument.
Guitar.
Favorite music genre.
Rock.
Dance.
Ballet.
Favorite ballet.
Swan Lake.
Water.
Cold.
Winter.
Spring.
Favorite drink.
Peach Snapple.
Choreographer.
Balanchine.
Film.
Mommy Dearest.
Last meal you had.
Spaghetti.
Airline.
Delta.
West End.
New York.
Socks.
Argyle.
Theatre.
Cats.
Point shoes.
Pain.
The year 2019.
Success.
London.
West End.
Fashion.
Gautier.
And time is up. Awesome. You see, that wasn't that bad. Thank you so much. That concludes our episode for today. What an honor to have Victor in studio with us. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing some awesome insights in the world of theatre and ballet for all of our listeners.
Thank you.
So we will be posting all of the social media stuff on Facebook. We wish you all of the best with not just Men and Tutus, but everything going forward. And it's been an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Podcasting, the practice of using the internet to make digital recordings of broadcasts available for downloading to a computer or mobile device. Or, as they say in South Africa, a fantastic way to tell a good story or to bring your brand to life. To find out more on how podcasting can change your brand or your 2019, speak to us at brandlive.co.za. brandlive.co.za. We bring your brand to life.